Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Read Good, Draw Bad, where I love to read great books and I also like to draw really bad. And you can't stop me, I'm going to keep doing it. So for today, I thought I would do something really fun where I think about the gift of giving. And what's more important than giving yourself gifts? Nothing. So what I've tried to do is I've decided that I'm gonna do something I like to call Indie Miss. My way of contributing to the indie art scene is I'm gonna go and I'm gonna see if I can find some indie authors who I can support and buy their books online. Now I've made some rules that I set out for myself with this particular purchase session. I was looking for books that I thought maybe didn't get a lot of views, or books that are newer or smaller indie authors. And I also want these books to be available digitally. Number one, I just don't really have the space for that many books. And number two, I find I read on the go a lot. So a digital book or an e-reader book is much, much better for me. I'm going to look across a few social media platforms and post a few places and see if I can get some response on what other people thought were some of the best indie authors that they read this year, and to also hype their own book if they so choose. I went to two places and I got some really great recommendations, and they were both on Reddit. So one of them was r Suggest Me a Book, and the other one was r Fantasy. Now both of these are great places to look for books if you too are looking for a book suggestion. I scaled it down to about 10 titles or so that I really thought I would enjoy this December to sort of fit into my holiday theme of what I want to read this year. And I really appreciate all the people and all the authors who put in the effort to give me some great suggestions for indie books. And I did this whole live purchasing session that I thought would be really fun to show you. Unfortunately, it went really wrong because it's actually really hard to buy indie books. Some of these books that are not on this list, or if you did recommend me a book, I actually did try and buy it in multiple ways, and it was actually really difficult. Yeah, buying indie books is really complicated. The first book I bought is Of Crowns and Legends by Chelsea Banning. And I was particularly interested in this one because she recently blew up on Twitter because no one came to her book signing, and a lot of famous authors actually chimed in and tried to make her feel a little bit better because they also are now famous and they had times when nobody came to their book signing. So I'll just leave a few of their tweets up here, and I found it really heartwarming. And she writes Arthurian fantasy and say no more. That is already my type of book, so that was an insta-buy for me. The next book that I bought is something called The Wanderer's Inn, which is actually a free web series novel that you can read online. And it is written by someone called, I don't really know how to say the author of this book or of this web novel, but what I will say is the premise sounds very interesting, and anything to do with like a magical world where someone gets thrown into it, I'm sold. Let's get into it. The next book series that was recommended to me was The Aria of Steel, and so I went ahead and bought book one, which is called The Canticle of Souls. The Canticle of Two Souls. And I didn't look too much into the premise, but it sounded really interesting just sort of from the outset. So I'm honestly just really excited about it. I'm really interested in this book. True story. I just kind of want something to take me away from all my daily problems and from the general despair of the world, which seems like it's ending every single month, and just don't read the news, people. So the next book I'm really interested to read this month is called Murder on Milverton Square by G.B. Ralph. And I got this one because the author is on TikTok and we follow each other, and I just started TikTok, so I have 4 whole followers, so follow me on TikTok. But this author, I think, does a great job of promoting his book, and I'm really interested to read it, and it sounds straight up my alley. I love mystery books. It's giving me vibes of a bit of Agatha Christie, so I'm really looking forward to diving into this, and I bought both the first book and the second book. However that works, I got it as a bit of a bundle. So one series that was recommended to me was by the author Will White, and it is the Cradle series. Apparently this fantasy book series has a lot of books, but I just thought I'd dip my toe into it, so I bought book one, which was called Unsold. Came highly recommended, so I definitely think I'm going to give it a shot. The next 2 books on my list are a new genre, which I hadn't heard of, but makes perfect sense to me if you've ever played a video game. It is a fantasy lit RPG. So these particular types of novels are based on sort of video game tropes of leveling up in experience and sort of trying to become bigger, better, faster, stronger. Sounds really interesting. So the 2 books in the fantasy lit RPG realm that I chose, one is called Battle Mage Farmer, which just sounds hilarious, and I really hope it has something to do with magical cows and farming. I think I'll love it. Next, the second fantasy lit RPG book that I found that's in that same genre is called Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I was happy to get it simply based on the title. I just love the alliteration, because apparently this is another book with a lot of books attached to it. So the final book in this series is the Miss Percy's Guide to Feeding British Dragons, to the care and feeding of British dragons. So the final book on my list is by the author Quenby Olson, and I'm really excited about this series. I think I love the idea of taking a scientific approach to fantasy. There are many good books that have done this before. This is called Miss Percy's Pocket Guide to Feeding British Dragons, to the feeding and care of British dragons. Why can't I say this title? And I have a feeling I will devour these. The main character of the book, who says she's a spinster and has nothing interesting going on in her life until she accidentally gets a dragon egg. You've already set up the book for me so well, and I'm really excited to read it. I love books about dragons. I think they're so much fun and make for a cozy fantasy read if that's what you're into. So major shout out to all the people who gave me great recommendations, and I'll link the original Reddit threads if you're interested in looking up some of these books yourself. If you have an opportunity to support someone who's doing something creative and interesting in your life, this is a great time and a great season to purchase an indie author's book, to purchase an indie artist's artwork, or to find a way to support someone like me and subscribe to me on YouTube. You can also like this video and share it, and I will be very appreciative. So do you think there's any indie authors who really deserve some huge recognition? Let me know in the comments below. So that's all for me this week, but I'm really looking forward to doing my best books of 2022 at some point in December. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Please smash that like button, please subscribe, and please share this video if you want more videos about great book reviews. Thanks so much for watching. Stay curious, stay reading.